Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is Word Origins 33. The word origin today is buck. Buck as in like the US dollar buck. Okay, so let's take a look at the note here. The origin of the use of buck to mean $1 is not 100% certain, but there are two main theories. However, it is certain that the origin is from the US. It is also noteworthy that several other countries that use dollars, as their main currency, sometimes also use buck as a slang, such as Australia, New Zealand, and Canada all will also use buck, as well as America uses buck. And I think there's a few other countries too that I think even though their main currency may not be a dollar, but I think South Africa, they sometimes use the word buck. And I think Nigeria also uses the word buck. Anyway, let's continue here. It is also good to note that Canada has its own slang for dollar called the loonie. Yeah, that's from a bird. That's their one of the main birds, their national bird in the country. Sometimes also on their coin, it's called the loonie. Yeah, sometimes you hear it made fun of on, the investment channels, because in American English, it sounds like loony, L-O-O-N-E-Y, meaning like cuckoo or crazy or like silly crazy. But that's another slang for the Canadian dollar. So if you go to Canada and you ask how much is something, somebody might say it's 5 loonies. Just like if you go to the U.S. and somebody says how much is something, they might say, well, that's $5, $10, meaning $10, of course. And New Zealand also has kiwi, so yeah, New Zealand uses kiwi for a lot of things. I mean, first there's the bird, the flightless bird, that was originally. Then, of course, there's the fruit, kiwi, but it's also slang for their dollar as well. Okay. And I think Australian has also some strange slangs, but I think they have different slangs for different denominations of their bills. But anyway, let's continue. Let's get back to the theory here. So one theory of the origin of the use of the term buck is that it comes from poker. A token in front of a dealer, the one who's dealing the cards, used to be called buck because it was made from buckhorn. Yeah, okay, good. And buck, type of deer, of course. The second more popular, and this is probably the one that I think most people think is correct. The second more popular theory is from the idea of trading buckskin. Buckskin was deer skin, which used to be a common exchange of trade among the early settlers and the Native American Indians. So that's where most people there is some evidence, like in the 1800s, of them using the word buck to mean like dollars. But it originally came from the idea of, trading buckskins. So I guess they kind of shortened buckskin to just buck. And that became, a very real form of trade, of currency at that time. Anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it's clear. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.